All right, let's get right into it. Think about this for a second. What if, instead of banging your head against the wall trying to write the perfect AI prompt, you could just get the AI to write that prompt for you? And what if those AI-written prompts were actually better than the ones you could come up with on your own? Well, that's exactly what meta-prompting is all about.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You have this crystal clear idea in your head, you type out what seems like a totally straightforward request to an AI, and the response you get back is just completely off. It's so frustrating. But what if the problem isn't the AI's ability to understand, but the way we're talking to it?
I mean, look at this. You asked for something simple, like a blog post on sustainable energy, hoping for something sharp and interesting. What you get is this bland, generic wall of text with no focus, no target audience. It's basically useless. It's a classic case of a great idea getting totally lost in translation.
And this right here, this gets to the heart of what we can call the prompting problem. It's that huge gap between what we want and what the AI gives us. And honestly, it's a hurdle that trips up pretty much everyone, even people who use these tools all the time.
See, here's the big reveal. The issue isn't the AI's power. The problem is the quality of our instructions. Crafting a really good prompt from scratch takes a ton of time, a ton of skill, and frankly, a lot of guesswork. But what if there was a way to just skip all that trial and error?
Well, there is, and it's exactly what it sounds like, using prompts that write other prompts. Yeah, it's a little bit meta, I know, but trust me, it is an unbelievably powerful way to get exactly what you need out of an AI.
The official name for this whole technique is meta-prompting. At its core, you're telling the AI to act like an expert prompt engineer. You give it a high-level goal, and it spits out a super detailed, highly optimized prompt that you can then use for whatever you were trying to do in the first place.
I love this analogy. Think about it this way. When you're writing a prompt manually, you're like a chef trying to invent a complicated recipe from scratch. But with meta-prompting, your role changes. You become the head chef. You're not chopping the vegetables yourself. You're using your high-level expertise to tell your expert sous chef, the AI, exactly what a perfect recipe needs.
And get this isn't just a cool theory. The data shows that prompts made this way perform, on average, 15 to 25% better than prompts written by hand. That is a huge jump in quality. Why? Because the AI knows its own language better than we do. It's tapping into its own internal logic to build the perfect instruction.
So, what's really going on here? How does this actually work? It's not some kind of dark magic. It's a really structured process that lets us tap into the AI's own knowledge of what makes a good instruction.
The process is actually beautifully simple. It's just 4 steps. First, you write your meta prompt. That's your instruction to the prompt writer. Second, the AI generates the new optimized prompt for you. Third, you take that new prompt and use it for your actual task. And finally, and this is key, you can tweak and refine your meta prompt to get even better results over time. It's a loop. Okay, so what goes into a great meta prompt? It really boils down to 5 key ingredients. First, you give the AI a role, like you are an expert prompt engineer. Then you specify the task. Generate a prompt that creates a 3-month marketing plan. Next, you set quality criteria, telling it what a good prompt looks like. Maybe it's clear, specific, or includes examples. You can add constraints, like a word count or things to avoid. And last, you tell it the exact format you want the final prompt to be in.
The difference this makes is, well, it's stunning. Talk is cheap, so let's look at a real-world example and see just how big the improvement can be.
So on the left, you've got your typical vague manual prompt. Write code for user authentication API. The code you get back from that is probably going to be insecure and incomplete. But now look at the right. This is a prompt that was generated by a meta prompt. Wow, just look at that level of detail. It specifies the persona, the programming framework, the exact security methods like JWT and bcrypt, and even the specific error codes to handle. It's the difference between a vague idea and a production-ready blueprint.
And that 15 to 25% boost we talked about, this is what that looks like. It's not just a tiny improvement. It's a serious upgrade in the quality of what you get back. It's the tangible difference between a result that's just meh, okay, and one that's actually excellent. So, this is obviously a really powerful tool. But is it something you should use for absolutely everything? Not really. Knowing when to use meta-prompting is just as important as knowing how to do it.
You should definitely reach for meta-prompting when you're diving into a topic you don't know much about, or when you're building a whole library of prompts for your team to use.
It's also perfect for taking an old, underperforming prompt and making it way better, or for tackling really complex multi-part tasks. But, for quick, simple things, or in situations where you need precise, exact control over every single word, it's often just faster and easier to stick with a manual prompt.
All right, so we've gone through the what, the why, and the how. Let's just pull back for a second and think about what this all really means.
So, let's boil it all down. The big idea here is to stop guessing and start directing. Metaprompting lets you use the AI's own knowledge to build better instructions for itself. You just give it a role, a task, and some clear rules, and you can unlock a whole new level of quality, especially for those really tricky tasks. It really turns prompting from a messy art into a repeatable science.
And that kind of leaves us with this one last big question to chew on. We're essentially teaching an AI how to teach itself to be prompted more effectively. As this kind of thing gets more and more advanced, what happens when the AI truly becomes its own best instructor? What kind of new possibilities does that even open up? It's a pretty wild glimpse into where all of this is heading.